What if I told you that one man's rejected manuscript became the foundation for how millions of children learn to love reading? And what if that same man accidentally created the most powerful educational tools in human history while just trying to make kids laugh? This is the incredible true story of Dr. Seuss. Meet Theodore Seuss Geisel, born in Springfield, Massachusetts in 1904. A failed cartoonist in the 1930s whose first book was rejected 27 times. 27! Publishers said his strange rhymes and weird creatures would never sell. They called his work too different, too bizarre, too unmarketable. They were spectacularly wrong. But here's what makes this story even more incredible. Geisel almost gave up after the 27th rejection. He was walking down Madison Avenue in New York City, manuscript under his arm, ready to burn it, when he bumped into an old college friend who had just been hired as a children's book editor. That chance encounter, it changed the world. In 1957, 20 years later, Dr. Seuss was given what seemed like an impossible challenge by his editor Bennett Cerf. Write a book using only 250 words that would make learning to read actually fun. The boring Dick and Jane books were putting kids to sleep. Schools were desperate for something, anything, that would make children excited about reading. The result? The Cat in the Hat, and a complete revolution in children's literature. But here's what most people don't know. Modern brain research proves that Dr. Seuss wasn't just entertaining kids. He was literally rewiring their brains for reading success. Every truffler, every Sneetches, every wocket in a pocket, every silly nonsensical word was building neural pathways that make reading easier. His rhythmic rhymes and repetitive patterns don't just sound good, they create something called phonological awareness, the secret ingredient that transforms struggling readers into confident ones. Scientists have discovered that children who hear Dr. Seuss books regularly develop stronger connections between the areas of their brain responsible for language processing. The made-up words force young minds to be flexible with language. The rhymes teach pattern recognition. The repetition builds memory. It's like a gym workout, but for your brain. And get this, he did it 46 times. From "And to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street" in 1937 to "Oh, the places you'll go" in 1990. Each book carefully crafted with specific educational goals that he intuited decades before science could prove them. But Dr. Seuss had a secret. He wasn't just writing children's books. He was smuggling profound life lessons past the radar of both kids and adults. Every story was a Trojan horse filled with wisdom about tolerance, environmentalism, self-confidence, and social justice. Let me tell you about the top 5 books that changed everything, and the hidden meanings most people miss. Number 1, The Cat in the Hat. Using just 236 words, this isn't just about a mischievous cat bringing chaos to a boring day. It's a masterpiece about creativity versus conformity. The fish represents the voice of authority telling us to play it safe. The cat represents the creative spirit that refuses to be contained. And those things? Thing 1 and Thing 2 represent the beautiful chaos that happens when we let our imagination run free. The real message? Sometimes you need a little chaos to spark creativity. Sometimes breaking the rules leads to the most beautiful discoveries. Number 2, Green Eggs and Ham. This one's legendary. Written on a $50 bet that he couldn't create a story with only 50 different words. Bennett Cerf bet him it was impossible. Dr. Seuss won and created the 4th best-selling children's book of all time. But look deeper. Sam I Am isn't just pestering someone about weird food. He's teaching the most important lesson of all. Don't judge something until you try it. Every "I do not like them" is really about prejudice. Every place, Sam suggests, in a house, with a mouse, in a box, with a fox, represents how our biases follow us everywhere until we finally have the courage to try something new. The transformation at the end, when the grumpy character finally tries green eggs and ham and loves them. That's not about food. That's about how trying new things, meeting new people, experiencing different cultures can completely change our perspective on life. Number 3, The Lorax. This one will blow your mind. Published in 1971, decades before climate change was mainstream, Dr. Seuss was warning us about environmental destruction. But he wasn't just writing about trees. The Onceler represents unchecked capitalism. The truffula trees represent any natural resource we exploit. The barbaloots, swomy swans, and hummingfish represent the wildlife that suffers when we prioritize profit over planet. And the Lorax? He doesn't just speak for the trees. He speaks for everyone who doesn't have a voice in corporate boardrooms. The most chilling line in the book. Business is business and business must grow. Sound familiar? Dr. Seuss predicted the exact mindset that's driving climate change today. But here's the hopeful part. The story ends with a single seed. One truffula seed that holds the power to restore everything. That seed represents each of us. our individual power to make a difference. Because unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. Number 4, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Everyone thinks this is just a holiday story about a green guy who learns to love Christmas. Wrong. This is a masterclass in depression and emotional transformation. The Grinch lives alone on a mountain, isolated from community, consumed by bitterness. Sound like anyone you know? His heart is 2 sizes too small, because he's never experienced genuine connection. He thinks happiness comes from material things, presents, decorations, feast, so he steals all of it. But when the Whos wake up on Christmas morning and still sing joyfully, the Grinch realizes that true happiness doesn't come from what you have. It comes from who you're with. His heart doesn't just grow 3 sizes because of Christmas magic. It grows because he finally understands what community and love really mean. The real message? Depression often comes from isolation. Healing comes from connection. And sometimes the people who seem the meanest are just the ones who need love the most. And number 5, Oh, the Places You'll Go. This isn't just a graduation gift. It's the most honest roadmap for life ever written. Dr. Seuss doesn't sugarcoat anything. He tells you straight up, life will have mountains and valleys. You'll have times when you're leading the pack, and times when you're lost in a lurch. You'll get stuck in the waiting place, that terrible place where people just wait. Waiting for better weather, waiting for the right opportunity, waiting for their real life to begin. But then he reminds you of the most important truth. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. No wonder it's the most popular graduation gift of all time. It's not just inspiring, it's brutally honest about what life actually looks like. But here's why this matters more than ever. We're in a literacy crisis. Children who can't read well by 4th grade are 4 times more likely to drop out of high school. 4 times! In our digital age, reading isn't just important, it's survival. Dr. Seuss books are specifically designed to prevent this tragedy. The bright colours capture wandering attention spans. The rhythm builds language skills naturally. The repetitive patterns help struggling readers predict what comes next. And those silly words, they make children want to read. Not because they have to, but because it's actually fun. Research shows that children who grow up with Dr. Seuss books develop what educators call reading confidence. They're not afraid to tackle unfamiliar words because they've been playing with language since they were babies. They understand that reading should be enjoyable, not a chore. Every March 2nd, Dr. Seuss's birthday, millions of children celebrate Read Across America Day. It's become the largest reading celebration in the world. Teachers across the country report the same thing. Dr. Seuss books remain the most effective tools for engaging reluctant readers and building confidence. But here's where it gets really interesting. Dr. Seuss wasn't just accidentally educational. He was deliberately revolutionary. Look at the Sneetches, published in 1961, right in the middle of the civil rights movement. Starbelly Sneetches think they're superior to plain belly Sneetches. They exclude them from parties and Frankfurter roasts. But then Sylvester McMonkey McBean arrives with machines that add and remove stars until nobody knows who's who. The message? Racism is absurd. Prejudice based on physical differences is literally meaningless. We're all just Sneetches underneath. Or consider Horton Hears a Who. A person's a person, no matter how small. Published in 1954, this was Dr. Seuss's response to America's occupation of Japan after World War II. He felt guilty about his own anti-Japanese propaganda cartoons during the war, and wrote this as an apology. It's about protecting the vulnerable, listening to voices that others can't hear, and standing up for what's right, even when everyone thinks you're crazy. Yertle the turtle warns against authoritarianism. The king turtle who stacks other turtles to build his throne higher and higher until it all comes crashing down. That's not just a silly story. That's a warning about what happens when leaders care more about power than people. These aren't just children's books. They're guides for building a better world. Want to give your child a reading advantage? Here's the secret that most parents miss. Start with Dr. Seuss from birth. Yes, birth. The rhythmic language builds brain connections even in babies. Pediatric neurologists have found that babies who hear rhythmic rhyming language develop language skills faster than those who don't. At 6 months, babies start recognizing the patterns in Dr. Seuss rhymes. At 12 months, they begin predicting the rhyming words. By 18 months, they're reading along, filling in the blanks. This isn't just cute, this is cognitive development in action. The repetitive patterns help toddlers predict words, building reading comprehension before they can even speak clearly. And the moral lessons? They create empathetic human beings who understand that differences should be celebrated, not feared. Here's your strategic reading roadmap. Start with Hop on Pop for beginning readers. The 3-letter words and simple sentences build confidence. Move to Green Eggs and Ham, for sight word recognition and persistence. Graduate to The Cat in the Hat for narrative structure and storytelling skills. Then comes the advanced curriculum. The Lorax for environmental awareness. The Sneetches for discussions about fairness and inclusion. Horton Hears a Who for empathy and standing up for others. Oh, The Places You'll Go for resilience and life planning. Each book builds on the last, creating not just better readers, but better humans. Dr. Seuss died in 1991 at age 87, but his impact grows stronger every year. His books have been translated into dozens of languages, adapted into movies, Broadway shows, and museum exhibitions. They've sold over 600 million copies worldwide. But here's the most incredible statistic. 90% of American children can identify the cat in the hat. That's higher name recognition than most presidents. Dr. Seuss didn't just write books. He created a shared cultural language that spans generations. They remain the bridge between learning to read and loving to read, between childhood wonder and adult wisdom, between individual growth and social change. In our age of screens and digital distractions, these books prove that the written word still has magic, that stories can still change hearts and minds. That imagination is still our most powerful tool for building a better future. So here's my challenge for you. Pick up a Dr. Seuss book today. Read it to a child and watch their eyes light up. Reread your childhood favourite and discover layers you missed the first time. Or discover one you've never explored and see what messages speak to you now. Because in our world of endless entertainment options, these 46 books remain the most powerful tools for creating lifelong readers, critical thinkers, and compassionate humans. Remember what Dr. Seuss taught us. Today you are you. That is truer than true. There is no one alive who is youer than you. And also remember, you have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. The question is, which direction will you choose first? Which book will you open? Which lesson will you share? Which child will you inspire? Your journey through the magical world of Dr. Seuss starts with a single page. Turn it. Find the complete chronological list of all 46 Dr. Seuss books, detailed reading guides for every age group, discussion questions for families and classrooms, and more literary adventures at hooktobooks.com. Your reading journey and your child's future starts now.